Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the LOL tutorials. As usual, let's just jump straight into the practice tool. So click play, training, practice tool, and confirm, and start game. Now once again we are going to choose Misfortune. For this tutorial you can actually choose any champion. So lock in your choice and let's jump into today's tutorial. Okay, here we are in the practice tool, and as usual we're just going to start by recapping what we learned in the previous tutorials. So we're just moving around the map, practicing our mouse movements, our right clicks and our camera movements, trying to keep our champion in the center of the screen. So let's do this for a little while. And as we enter a bush, let's attack move. Make sure we attack move just to make sure that we are ready if an enemy comes and attacks us. One extra tip you can use to center your champion on the screen is to hold down the spacebar, and basically that will do exactly what you're seeing right now. It will make sure that my camera is centered exactly on my champion. Okay, and now we have practiced moving around again. Let's try kiting. Okay, now we are nice and warmed up. Let's jump into today's tutorial, which is learning all about champion abilities. Now for this tutorial we're going to make our HUD max size just so we can see things a little bit better. And let's get straight into things. Now, all champions have three types of ability. They have their passive, also known as an innate ability, which is present throughout the entire game. They have their basic abilities, which are on Q, W, and E. And then they have their ultimate ability, which is on R. Your basic abilities are available from level 1, and your R is available from level 6. At the start of the game, you will notice that you have the opportunity to level up one of your basic abilities, either your Q, your W, or your E. And you can level up an ability either by clicking this arrow right here, or as you can see on the tooltip at the bottom, you can press Ctrl Q or Ctrl W or Ctrl E to level up an ability. So in this case, let's just start by leveling up our E. And here you can see we have a point right here in the E, and the icon now has color. This means that the ability is available to use. Now as we continue the game and level up our champion, we will get more skill points to be able to level up other abilities. So in the practice tool, you can see here I can level up my champion. So I'm just going to level up to level 5 right now. And you can see I have 4 points which I can spend in any of these other abilities. So let's use Ctrl Q to level up our Q, Ctrl W to level up our W, and then we have 2 more points, both of which I'm going to put into Q. Now as you can see, I put more points into an ability, these circles get filled. And in most champions, their basic abilities have 5 slots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 for the W, and 5 for the E. As we hit level 6, let's get to level 6, you can see now we have the opportunity to put a point into our ultimate ability. So let's do that right now. And ultimate abilities have 3 slots, so fewer slots available. But as your ultimate ability is by and large your most powerful ability, any chance you get to put a point into your ultimate, into your R, you should take. So as soon as this becomes available to put a point into, you should definitely put the point into your ultimate ability. Let's talk about how to use champion abilities. And for this I have moved into the bottom half of the map in the river, and I've spawned 1, 2, 3 target dummies. To talk about how to cast champion abilities, first we need to talk about quick casting and normal casting. So first I want you to choose normal cast all and then press OK in your options. And we're going to start with our Q. So I can press Q like this and it will show me my range here. This blue circle is the range. So as long as the enemy is within range, I can use the ability. And then to use the ability, I have to left click on the enemy, like this. And in this case, let's take a look at the information here. Misfortune fires a bouncing shot, dealing 149 physical damage to an enemy and to another one behind them. So that is what the ability does. Let's try it one more time. Click Q on the keyboard and then left click the enemy to attack. Now this is what's known as normal casting, where I have to press the button, press the Q, and then a further left click in order to execute the ability. But another way of casting abilities is with quick cast. So let's try this. Let's click quick cast all and then OK. And now if I press Q on the enemy, it will instantly cast the ability. And this is actually very good as it will enable me to react quicker to different situations in the game in order to make sure that I can attack enemies. There's one more thing to note. Quick cast with indicator is an extra option that you have. And if you click replace quick cast with indicator in the QuickBind UI, which is, to be honest, very hard to understand, and then just choose OK. What will happen now is when I hold down Q, it will show me the range and the indicator of where the ability will go. And then if I let go of Q, it will execute the ability. So this helps us to be a little bit more speedy than if we were using normal cast, but also gives us the ability to see our range as well when we fire off our abilities. So this is another option that you can use when maybe you're starting out with the game and you want to get a good sense of your range. You can fire off the ability very quickly by just tapping Q, and you'll see it will basically instantly fire the ability. Now me personally, I prefer taking this off, so I'm going to check this off, but feel free to have it on if you wish. Okay, next let's take a look at Misfortune's W, which is strut. And what you'll notice here is this ability is split into two, a passive and an active. Now a passive is something that you do not need to activate by pressing any hotkeys, it is just always present. So in this case, from Misfortune's W, she has a passive ability, which says that after 5 seconds of not taking damage, Misfortune gains 25 move speed, and after another 5 seconds increases to 55. So that's quite a lot of movement speed, it makes Misfortune very fast. But if I activate this W, I can gain the passive effect's full move speed and a bonus 40% attack speed for 4 seconds. So let's try this out. I'm kind of moving around and attacking normally. And if I press W, I can move nice and fast and get some extra attack speed as well. So I'm going to press the S key to stop attacking, and that is Misfortune's W. Next, her E, make it rain. This is quite a simple ability. I can click my E in the area, and it will do an area of effect damage ability in that space. And then finally, her ultimate ability, which is known as bullet time. Misfortune channels a barrage of bullets, firing 14 waves over 3 seconds, and dealing damage per wave. So let's try this now on the enemy. And as you can see, this is a very powerful ability, which is why it's known as an ultimate ability. Now what you'll notice here at the bottom is after I've used this ultimate ability, there is a timer ticking down. And this is the cooldown of the ability. So I cannot just permanently use my R ability. If I try, it says that ability is not ready yet above the icon. And basically, when you use abilities in League of Legends, they will have cooldowns, so you cannot use them instantly after the first use. This is a big part of strategy in League of Legends. You have to play around your enemies' cooldowns and your own cooldowns to make sure that you can have the best chance of winning a fight. So let's try this a little bit more with the Q. You can see it's on a 5-second cooldown. The W is on a 12-second cooldown. And my E is on an 18-second cooldown. So with that knowledge, I might think, oh, well, my E is on a quite high cooldown, so I might need to be a little bit careful when I use it. Whereas my Q is on quite a short cooldown, so I can use it maybe a little bit more. Okay, finally let's look at the passive, known as Love Tap. All champions have a passive ability, and this is an innate ability that is present throughout the entire game. So in this case, Miss Fortune's attacks deal an additional 53 damage when she attacks a new target. So let's take a look at this. Attacking this target, you can see there's this little kind of heart icon next to it, which means I've already attacked it. If I attack a new target, the heart transfers over to this new enemy, and the first hit does extra damage. So if I go back to this enemy, extra damage. If I go back to this enemy, extra damage on the first hit. Now in League of Legends, there are currently, at the time of making this video, 157 champions, each of which in general has 4 abilities and an ultimate, and 1 passive on top of that. So in total, 157 times 5 different abilities, this takes us to 785 unique abilities in the game. This is impossible for you to remember straight away. It will take a lot of time to get used to each different champion's abilities, how to use them, and how to play against them. So please don't be discouraged when you're starting the game and you have no idea what's going on, because this is something that just takes time to get used to. Okay, next I would like to talk about skill order. Skill order is the order in which I prioritize which ability I should give a point to. So for example, in most champions, your ultimate ability is your most important ability. It does the most damage. So this should always be number 1 priority. In other words, if I have a point available and I have an opportunity to put it into my R, I should take that opportunity. And then for each champion in general, there is a best practice as to which order you should maximize each ability. By and large, it is not a good idea to evenly max each ability. So for example, it's not a good idea to put 1 point in Q, then W, then E, then R, and then 1 point in Q, 1 point in W, 1 point in E. This is in general not good in League of Legends, because some abilities are more powerful than others, and some abilities have different utility that champion might want to make use of throughout the game. So there is in general a skill order for each champion. Now when you're new to the game, you will have no idea what that skill order is. So what I recommend is heading to a website like OPGG, like this, and you can just Google, for example, Miss Fortune OPGG, click the top link, and here we are on OPGG. Here, on all OPGG pages, you will see a recommended skill build. And in the case of Miss Fortune, it is QWE. Now the reason we don't see R here is because it's a given. You will always maximize your R first. But after R, if you have a point available, you should put it into Q. And if you have a point available and you cannot put any more points into Q, they should then go to your W. And then if you have the rest of your points, they should go into your E. Okay, let's jump into exercise 1. And exercise 1 is very simple. I just want you guys to have a bit of fun spamming all of your abilities and spending a bit of time getting used to them and how they work. So I recommend spawning an enemy dummy or 2 in the river. And then what we can also do is auto-refresh our cooldowns and auto-refresh our mana or our energy. So we can spam abilities and then just get stuck in. Have fun using your Q, your E, your R. Just get used to using each of the champions' different abilities. so you're ready to use them in an actual game. Okay, for exercise 2, we are going to reset the game. So on practice tool, you can use Ctrl-Shift-P to reset the game. And then we're going to practice kiting again. But this time, we're going to be able to use an ability as well. In this case, I think I'm going to go with Q, but you can of course go for something else. So let's move over towards the blue buff. And I can spawn jungle camps and Rift Herald using this button to instantly make sure that the blue buff is there. And this time we're going to do the same exercise as before, but now we can use our Q as well to do even more damage to the blue buff. And as you can see, now I was able to use an ability, I was actually able to defeat the blue buff without being killed in return. So your next exercise is to try and do this as well. Use your abilities with your champion to try to kill the blue buff before it kills you. Okay, for exercise number 3, I have fully reset the game, so I exited and I jumped back in, just so I can see the correct timer at the top right of the screen. But what we are going to do is practice farming, but in this situation we can actually use our abilities. And in fact, I'm also going to allow us to use some starter items. So most cases, you will start with these 2 items, a Doran's Blade and a health potion. So try and get those in your inventory by right-clicking. If you are using a different champion, there might be different recommendations, so just choose whichever was on the left. And for this exercise, we're going to practice farming, like we did in the last video, but in this case, we can also use our abilities to improve our CS. So for this video, I want you to try, or for this exercise, I want you to try and hit 30 to 35 CS by 5 minutes on the clock, using both your auto attacks but also your basic abilities. Okay, so I hit around 40 CS by 5 minutes, not too bad. And that brings us to the end of this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. And once you've completed those 3 exercises, you can move on to the next one. See you next time.